Hey everybody, it's Jim Black from Know Before You Owe. Excited to have my guest here today, Nick Bailey. Nick is a life legacy real estate professional here in the Santa Cruz area of California. Thanks for being on our show, Nick.
Thanks, Jim. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So Nick and I have been friends for a few years now and involved with a lot of committees in our local association. Today's topics are going to be around what Nick has learned throughout his career as a real estate professional and also his story. So Nick, can you share how you got into the real estate industry?
Absolutely. So I didn't intend on getting into real estate, actually. I get that question often because I'm part of a family business, and I graduated college, decided I wanted to kind of get in the tech sales world, moved to San Francisco, moved to the Bay Area. While I was going through that process, I decided to get my real estate license and just absolutely fell in love with it. Being able to help people, and it really connected with me a lot more than some of the other job opportunities I was looking at.
That's cool. What was it that made you really jump in? Was it the fact you like working with families and making big decisions? Is it the real estate negotiation? What part of that do you love about the job?
Yeah, I'd say first off, just being able to help people. I mean, whether it's first-time home buyer, especially being a lifelong local to Santa Cruz County, first-time home buyers, people that need to sell and be able to use those funds for another purpose. People that want to invest in property to kind of set up their family's future. So that's what really drew me to it. And from a personal side, I also love the amount of opportunity that we have in the real estate industry and being able to be creating your own business. And I know a lot of small business owners and self-employed people share that same sentiment, but that's what I love about it. Every day is different, and you get to create as much opportunity as you can.
Right on. So you mentioned being a part of a bigger thing, like there's local associations, state associations, and national associations. Mm-hmm. So can you share with our audience the things that you're involved with? Because there's a long list of them all and I couldn't write them all down.
Absolutely. Well, as you mentioned, you and I have been lucky to be on a few committees here at our local association over the last few years. Currently, I'm the local government relations chair at the Santa Cruz County Association of Realtors, and that is really looking at local housing issues and matters that kind of come up, making connections with our local elected officials. I'm also a part of the Santa Cruz County Association of Realtors board of directors, and then for the California Association of Realtors, I'm a part of their board of directors as well, and I'm also part of the Young Professionals Network. I'm the vice chair of that at the state level this year. And what the Young Professionals Network goal is to kind of introduce newer realtors in the industry to the benefits of association involvement and leadership, and the impacts that our associations can have for our clients' abilities to buy and sell properties, and our ability to do our job as realtors.
So most realtors don't do any of those things one time in their career, and you're doing 5 or 6 of them at the same time. So big kudos to you for being invested in your career and invested in the community to make it better for families to have better rights as homeowners and provide more information and make sure people are getting the right service, not only here locally, but at the state level, which is exciting.
Absolutely. No, thank you. It's something I've enjoyed getting involved in, and it's only been a couple of years that I kind of dipped my toe into association involvement, and I've loved every minute of it. That's
cool. So to recap, Nick is involved at local, state, and I would say national levels with different groups and pillars of business. So those are not paid jobs, right? That's all volunteer. That's all your time and energy, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's totally volunteer work. It does from time to time pull away from our job as real estate agents, but it's certainly time well spent, I would say.
That's great. Yeah. So let's talk about you have a legacy in real estate. So I think it's been 3 generations.
It is, yes.
3 generations of a legacy family in real estate. And this industry has really only been around since like the 30s or 40s. So that's
Right.
a big thing. Can you share some advice that you've either received from one of your legacy mentors or that you have for yourself that you'd want to give yourself back in time, some advice that you could use today? It's kind of a look back into the past on what would be better advice for our viewers and people to really learn about how to be the best agent they can be.
Absolutely. So I can think of countless, advice that I've gotten from people within our office, people outside our office, such as yourself as well. Something that resonates with myself is not focusing on the market. The market is going to be the market as real estate agents, but you can still show up every day and provide that value to your clients. So don't get caught up in kind of what's going on in the overall real estate market or the industry with a lot going on right now, but just focus on that value that you bring. Personally, if I were to look back and tell myself something from the get-go, would be to absolutely focus on relationships. And I think, especially when you're new as a real estate agent or even in any industry, you're going to be looking at different ways to kind of grow your business. And it wasn't until I really kind of looked in the mirror and decided that focusing on those relationships and the connections that you have with people, and as I said before, the value that you can bring to your community, that's been imperative to my success in my career so far. And I would, if I could go back 6-7 years now from when I started, I would tell myself that from the get-go.
That's huge. So there's a lot to unwind there. First thing I heard was life events are what matter to consumers. They don't care about the market.
Right.
Our individual families we're helping have unexpected positive or negative things happen in their life. Those things don't matter if rates are 5% or 8%.
Absolutely.
They don't care if values have gone up or down.
Right.
So that's the first part of that, which is huge. So people move all the time. They aren't They aren't necessarily waiting for the best situation to make the move.
Right.
And then also the fact that relationships matter.
Yeah.
That if you are a trusted advisor in someone's life, they're going to count on you for a lot more than just a transaction. They probably come to you for a roofer or an inspector or a loan officer.
Absolutely.
Some other professional that can help them, because while they buy a house or sell a house one time, there's going to be many things that come up throughout the year, throughout the course of homeownership.
Yep.
And they're going to come back to you. And that's how you probably get more referrals or introduced to other relationships by continuing to add value in their lives. Is that right?
Absolutely. No, I think you're constantly, helping a client out, even if it isn't directly tied to a transaction. I'm sure, yourself, I can't imagine the amount of financial questions that you're constantly answering for questions that aren't necessarily tied to a mortgage or a purchase, right? And so I think you got to consistently kind of provide that value, be that resource because your clients are counting on you to get that information.
Absolutely. And we know there are kind of 2 buckets of clientele in most of the financial products that are out there, including real estate. You have people that want to work online for the cheapest, lowest cost. And then you have people that want to have a one-stop shop where they have all their trusted advisors collaborated, teamed up together to create what I would call a better experience.
Absolutely.
And I know we're both on the same page there with having that team, that hometown team or local team of professionals surrounding that client makes us look more valuable in the eyes of the consumer, and hopefully the value we provide shows the reward opportunity for us also.
No, absolutely. And I just wanted to touch on something you mentioned before, especially in real estate. I mean, life events are going to happen, and our industry, I feel like, is very much tied to emotion and those life events. And so I think, while it's easy to get caught up in things that are going on in the industry or interest rates or a number of different factors, I think you always have to be there for that person and be able to help them out when they need it.
Absolutely. And it's exciting because you're a breath of fresh air, right? You're a little younger than me, but I would say, equally experienced in life with a lot of things about owning a home, going through the stress of that process, understanding how important it is to have the right information to make a decision.
Right.
So many people get bad advice because they're not working with the right people.
Right.
So it's important to work with those local professionals. I may have a cousin or uncle that's in real estate in Montana. They don't probably know all the local guidelines or regulation or zoning in Santa Cruz, for example.
Oh, absolutely.
And we know in our county, we're in a county in Santa Cruz, California, that has about 5 different geographical areas, right? From septic, which is basically your own sewer system, to utilities that are public, to private, to quasi, to solar, to understanding things about like ADUs, right? What you can do on a property.
Fire insurance,
home insurance, flood insurance. We're kind of in the mecca for any kind of complication that could exist. We definitely have that in our marketplace. So having people that are educated, that are knowledgeable, that are continuing to lead and also protect the interests of home ownership is so important and valuable. And I commend you a lot for taking all those extra roles on that give you personal value, but also give your clients a way better understanding of what decisions they're making and how to make those be the best they can.
Absolutely. And that's part of the reason I've enjoyed getting involved, because you are at the forefront of a lot of those discussions and part of the education of kind of what the changing landscape is for the California real estate market and our market here in Santa Cruz County. And you touched on working with someone local. There's a plethora of different things and moving parts in my market, and I know it's different than other markets. And so to be able to work with someone that has that team of experts, knows who to refer you to answer a question. If you're not able to answer it yourself, can connect you with the right person and guide you through that process. Is incredibly important.
Awesome. Well, let's make it a little bit more lighter now on some lighter notes. So I didn't tell you I was going to tell you about this, but I think of athletes, people in the military that are have routines and are regimented, do very well in jobs that don't have a lot of structure, right? We are entrepreneurial people by nature. So we have to count on our own roadmap to make sure we follow through and get things done that we need to. So I was told that your nickname is Wheels Bailey. Is that true? Is that true?
It was at one time before I got a little older, and I was pretty quick. So at one time was definitely Wheels Bailey. I don't know if that applies anymore, and now I think I'd pull a hamstring or something if I try to run that fast. But you're absolutely right. I mean, being involved in a competitive sense, prior to your career, I think goes a long ways. Especially in something, again, where you're an entrepreneur, you're a small business owner, and you have to wake up every day and see how that day is going to plan out. Every day is going to be different. And so to be able to have that structure, whether it's, from the military, or whether it's experience in sports or however you have that structure previously, I think it goes a long ways in our industry. But Wheels Bailey at one time, but definitely not anymore.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good deal. So let's talk about last thing for our viewers is the excitement of looking forward to things. A lot of people in real estate, if you're a buyer and you're making an investment purchase, you're looking at the future of that asset or value you're creating.
Right.
If you're a seller, you're looking at the past 90 days or short-term activity to determine what value you have when you go to sell. Right. So there's that yin and yang of realtors are on both sides of that equation sometimes. If you're on the selling side, you're looking at history. If you're on the buying side, you're looking at the future.
Right.
So looking at the future, can you tell me some things that you're excited about in the future of our industry or what you love about it?
Absolutely. So, I think there's always going to be change in every industry. And I think, the real estate industry, especially right now, is sort of looking at some elements of change. But I think with change, while it can be uncomfortable, I think you also have a lot of opportunity, right? And different ways to kind of approach your business. And so I think in certain ways, change can be a good thing. And you can restructure your business, bring different value to clients. So I think the change is something that's a little nerve-wracking. Like I said, I'm going to be someone that's welcoming to change, and I'm sure yourself as well.
Awesome. Yeah, it is evolving. It makes you excited to show up every day because you never know what your day is going to be like exactly. I've been doing this now for 2 decades. So that mindset, that adrenaline, that unknown is exciting for certain people that love things that are not always predictable.
Right.
And it's how you adapt and how you work through things that shows you really who you are as a person. And that's not only business, but in life. And things won't go as planned, but if you have the right people around you to support you and make those good decisions, then chances are very good it's going to end up as well as it can.
Right. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
That's cool. Well, I appreciate you being on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
This is great. And I'm always looking forward to hanging out with you and all the stuff that you're doing. And just want to let our viewers know if they have any questions, they can reach out to Nick directly. Remember, he's part of local associations here in Santa Cruz, at the state level with California Association of Realtors, at the state level with Young Professionals Network, which is newer agents, not necessarily younger, but newer.
Right.
And also, what's the last thing I'm missing?
Now I'm blanking on it too. Probably National Association of Realtors.
National Association.
Yeah.
So Nick's your guy. I'll put all Nick's information in the podcast and in YouTube channel so you can learn more about Nick. Thank you again for being here. And that's another edition of Bay Area, or of our show here. Here in the Bay Area, we like to support professionals on Know Before You Owe. Follow, like, subscribe to us on YouTube, on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Thanks for your time, Nick. Great to see you, my friend.
Thank you, Jim.
And we'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye.